Hello guys, TheAmigoBoys here, and today I want to make a build guide for you guys. Or I already made the build guide, but I want to make a video build guide, a build showcase at least, of my build called TheAmigoShotz, and I'm currently playing it here on my character called TheAmigoBoys Rain, which is a level 95 raider, and the build is really fun. It has really high clear speed, and it just works overall really good. But yeah, it's pretty cheap in the start if you don't really want to get pretty expensive, but it can also get pretty expensive if you want all the legacy gear and shit like that. So let's go over to the gear section. Um, I use a Windripper. My Windripper here is a legacy roll. Normally it only goes to from 60 to 80% crit chance, but this one is an older version when it went from 80 to 100% crit. You don't really need it. You can also use a normal Windripper just fine, but of course I had a Windripper before it got nerfed, so I'm using a legacy one. You can also use a Rabo instead, but I'd recommend a Windripper overall because it also has a rarity and quantity, which is pretty nice for finding loot as well. Then we go over to the helm, and there are three options of helms that I'd recommend, but overall I'd recommend the Rat's Nest because it gives insane crit chance, attack speed and rarity as well as movement speed. Movement speed is pretty good because it helps a lot against with the clear speed as well. If you want more movement speed you can use Devotor's Devotion, but you'll miss out on 75% crit chance and attack speed as well. You can also use a Starconia's Head if you want more life, which is a pretty good hardcore option in my opinion. But you'll miss out on the crit, but it doesn't really matter since we have a Diamond Flask anyway, so it's not that much crit you miss out on. Yeah. Then we have the quiver here, and I highly recommend using a drill neck. I've used a rag quiver before. I used drill neck, but when I started swapping out to the drill neck, it just got a lot better because the pierce really helps with the clear speed, and here with the drill neck it makes our pierce chance convert as well to damage, which is insane. So 100% pierce chance is 100% additional damage, which is just really nice. As well, it gives attack speed, and it's also much cheaper to get with one additional arrow compared to, let's say, a legacy crit multi-quiver. But yeah. Then we have the amulet, and on the amulet I highly recommend just focusing on crit multiplier, added lightning damage, and life. You can also get weapon elemental damage if you can afford it, but that will make it really expensive. And again, I have a legacy amulet right here that has 62% crit multi. Right now it only goes up to 38%, so it will be a little bit lower, but it's still a very good stat to get on the amulet. Also, if you can get it, you could also try and get resists on your amulet or attributes. I have a lot of attributes on my amulet because I needed the intelligence since I didn't have it on both my ring slots. And speaking of rings, I'm using diamond rings, 2 diamond rings, because I want the crit chance, but if you have a hard time capping resists, you can easily get some resist rings or something like that instead. I have weapon elemental damage on my ring, which I recommend getting, and life. If you have these two stats, then you should also look for resists and intelligence, since the Wrath gem requires a lot of intelligence, and we are only on the dexterity side of the tree, and we don't really go a lot into the end nodes, so it's really hard to get intelligence on the tree. But if you can't get enough intelligence, you can always begin to Wisdom of the Glade or Thieves Craft right here to get 60% more intelligence, and that should be enough. Yeah. On the other ring I have weapon elemental damage and a lot of added damages. You could also get added lightning damage on this ring. It would probably be worth it. Yeah, and life. I should have got life on this ring, but it would just make it much more expensive, so I didn't have enough currency for that. But yeah, the mana region is pretty useless. It just had the right resists for me, so it's overall a really insane ring. Then we have the belt, and on the belt side of yeah, I just recommend getting strength if you're using KMs, and if you don't use the KMs, you don't need to have a heavy belt. Then you could use a leather belt instead, which I'd recommend getting. But if you use KMs, I'd highly recommend getting a heavy belt, since the strength requirement for the KMs is pretty high, 191, and I only just go above 200. and that's even with all the nodes traveling up to the cyan life tree here. Yeah. Then for gloves we use face breakers. I have a pair of legacy face breakers with 90% crit multi, and that's the only reason why I use them. If you are on Breach League or Breach Hardcore, then I'd recommend not using face breakers, but instead using Meligaros, because the face breakers currently only grant 45% crit multiplier, and that's just not enough to make them worthwhile. So then I just recommend getting Meligaros instead. They go up to 36% crit multi and 50% crit chance, as well as attack speed. But yeah, as for the corruption, I'd highly recommend getting elemental weakness on hit if you can get it, because it really helps a lot against map clearing. The level 12 elemental weakness is, I think, around 30% penetration, which is just insane. It gives you a lot of more damage, and even on single target where bosses have I think 60% curse effectiveness, it really helps a lot against them as well, because it's still like 15% penetration, which makes a difference as well. And as for the boots, I use Dark Ray Vectors corrupted with +1 Frenzy Charge, so total it gives 2. But you don't really have to use it if you can't afford it or have problems with resists. If you have problems with resists, I'll use boots like these instead, with a lot of resist, movement speed, and life. Then again, you can also enchant them, and I'd either recommend getting this enchantment I have here with attack speed if you killed recently, or getting the penetration one if you haven't killed recently, which works very well against single target and bosses. But I had the resist capacity to use these, so I pick them up because they give a lot of damage and a lot more movement speed when I'm at max frenzy charges. So then again, if you're running lab and like running labyrinth, you'd probably want these boots as well, because you're not constantly on max frenzy charges while running lab, because you change instance a lot, so you lose your frenzy charges over time, and then these are much better because it gives you permanent movement speed compared to these that only really benefit you once you are up in the higher tiers of frenzy charges, like 7, 8, 9 and 10 frenzy charges. But yeah, and also I'd not recommend using Dark Ray Vectors if you haven't got the corruption on them. So non-corrupted Dark Ray Vectors are not worth it, then I'd rather use these. On a side note, the Dark Ray Vectors also give 2% chance to dodge per frenzy charge, which is insane. And yeah, as for the flasks, I use a Divine Flask with instant recovery. I like the instant recovery, but you don't have to use that. That's just personal preference. But the thing I'd recommend getting is the removes bleeding, because it works really well if you stumble upon some mobs with corrupting blood. They can be really tough, and this flask of staunching helps you a lot. The second flask I have here is Vessel of the Vinctar. It's important, and I'd highly recommend getting it. I have a Legacy Vessel of the Vinctar right here, so that means that I can spec out of Vial Pact. That's also why I didn't take Vial Pact, because the instant leech I get here, I just get it from the flask instead, and I have it up 99% of the times anyways. Also, as for the versions of the Vinctar, I'd recommend getting the added lightning damage version, or getting the 10% penetration version. But since the Vessel of the Vinctar shocks you when using it, as you can see here, I'd recommend getting a Diamond Flask with removes shock instead, because you can just pop that and it will remove the shock. And you also have to use Quicksilver with movement speed, because you'll be fast as fuck while using it. You'll be a real Sonic. And extra charges as well, so you can use it a lot more times before running out. The fifth flask is more personal preference. You can use Dying Sun. I use it to get two more projectiles on my tornado shot, but you can also use Taste of Hate if you want to. A flask that grants you physical mitigation, like the Basalt Flask, or you can get an Acidic Promise flask, which gives you more damage. It's more up to what you want to use. You can even try them out, all of them, and see which one you likes the best. Yeah, and of course, I mentioned Chaos Heart, but if you want to use another chest piece with a single target skill, you will need another 6 link. Then you can use, where is it? Where did I put it? You can use either a Lioness Vision, which would also be crazy, because it gives you Pierce, so you could swap out Pierce gem for another gem like Added Cold, which would give you a lot more damage. Or you could use the Kintsugi, which I talked about earlier. It's the second best options to Chems in my opinion, because Chems I have 6.5k life, but with the Kintsugi I have 5,200, but if you take 20% less damage I would take, which is almost permanently, you'd go up to over 6k as well, so they're pretty equal in terms of mitigation. Yeah. Now let's take a look at the gem links, and of course my main skill is Tornado Shot, and I use it with GMP, faster attacks, pierce, added lightning, and weapon elemental damage. These are the best options, and if you were to go for a 5 link, I'd just take I think I'd take faster attacks out, because it will only really benefit it won't benefit you as much as added lightning, because faster attack scales worse the more attack speed you have, and you will get a lot of attack speed from all the other sources as well, like onslaught, etc, etc. And that's where the added lightning damage shines, because the more attack speed you have, the more effective it gets, while the faster attacks gets less effective. And then we also use in our helm, or you can use it anywhere pretty much, in your gloves, your helm, in your boots, whatever. We use Immortal Call linked with cast when damage taken, increased duration, and Val Haste. The reason I use cast when damage taken and Immortal Call is simply because I hate porcupines and I've died to them a lot, so this really just protects me against the spike damage that the porcupines release when they die. And increased duration just to get a little bit more duration on our Immortal Call, as well as link it with Val Haste so that our Val Haste lasts longer. Then we use Blink Arrow and Herald of Ice, and Raft, they don't really have to be linked, it's just because I had the sockets here and my gloves are corrupted, so yeah, I don't even have a gem here, it doesn't matter. Blink Arrow for moving over obstacles, Herald of Ice and Raft because they're auras and you need to use them to get a lot of damage. You could, in theory, swap out Herald of Ice for Herald of Thunder, it would give you more damage, but I just like Herald of Ice because it really helps against clearing packs of monsters. And then we have Blood Rage here. You, in theory, will get Frenzy Charge Generation without it, but it's 20% attack speed, so I like using it, and I can pretty much sustain my life regen anyway. So if you were to use Val Pact and you don't have life regen, because you get life regen from over here, then it might be harder to sustain, and then you might want to not use it, but I'm using it just for the attack speed because I pretty much can sustain it anyways. Yeah, and the last gem is Summon Ice Golem because it gives us accuracy, which we need, and crit chance, which is also really, really nice. And sometimes it dies, and if you really don't like having golems, you can also just take it off, it doesn't matter, but it's a pretty nice damage boost anyway, so I use it. Then if we take a look at the skill tree, you can see that we go we spread out a lot, branch out a lot of the take a lot of the tree. We go all the way over to design life nodes over here, and go almost all the way up to between Shadow and Witch. So if we start and look at the leveling order of the skill tree, you can either choose to get the damage nodes here while leveling, which would make leveling faster, and then go down here to Heart of Oak and grab the life nodes here. Then you want to go down, and you don't want to take Druidic right yet, it's just for much later, once you get to maps, etc, etc. And you want to go over here, grab the Forces of Nature, because that penetration is really damn good, as well as it gives pretty nice chunk of damage. Then you go to the left and go over here. You don't want to take point blank while leveling, because that will just fuck your damage up a lot. You only want it for later, and if you don't like point blank, you can also always spec out of these two nodes and take this one instead. Yeah, and then we get life. You want to take that because you want to survive. And if you have problems with mana, you need to take the the mana and life leech node over here. Some people, they don't realize that it's also mana leech, so they only think that it's life leech, but this one is gonna help you a lot with mana problems, trust me. So I highly recommend taking this. Then you go over here, grabbing the life, the damage. I'd probably not take this if I wasn't using the blue dream, but since I'm using it, you want the resist to get the chance to power charge and kill as well. And yeah, I'll just check this out if I were to use this gem. Or jewel, of course. Then you go over here, grab the life, and then what you can do is you can either choose if you want to go all the way up here, getting all these useless strength nodes, or you can go up here and grab a little bit of life instead of the insane amount of life over here, and didn't get acrobatics and stuff instead. That's up to you, but yeah, I'd probably recommend getting the life anyways, because it's pretty nice to have a good amount of life once you get into maps, and there's also a jewel socket as well. Once you have taken all that, you should go to the right side here. Then you will probably be enough level, around level 50, to get the crit nodes, because I highly recommend getting them around level 50 so that you have them ready for when you're ready to get the Windripper and equip that at 62, I think. Yeah. Then you can take the frenzy charge nodes as well, but I'll only recommend getting them once you have Avatar of the Slaughter, because that's when it really starts to shine. Before that, you should just leave them and come back to them once you have spec'd into Way of the Poacher and Avatar of the Slaughter. After that, you want to take the crit nodes here as well, go up to acrobatics, grab the pierce nodes. They give you a lot of damage if you have a drill neck, and without them, they're still really good for the clear speed. Then you go up here, grab the life, the frenzy, go up here, there's a little life node over here, resist. And you can choose to take this damage as well, but I haven't because I wanted more life going up here. Then there's crit over here. This elemental node is really good. It gives 20% elemental damage as well as resist and intelligence, which you will need for the gear. So I'd highly recommend getting that as well. Then we have life and attack speed, and you can go up here, grab the node here. Arcing blows is worth it, I can confirm it. Even though not all the damage is lightning, it's still the most part that is, so it'll still be effective, probably 6% more damage just from the penetration, which is still insane. As well as getting the life over here for 4 points. Yeah, and that's pretty much the tree. I'm only level 95, so if I were to get 5 more points, I would probably spend them on getting maybe this jewel socket here, or I would go up here, grab Heart of the Oak. Of course, I get Heart of the Oak, life, and maybe these two nodes here, projectile damage and attack speed node. The other 10% projectile nodes I don't really feel worth it, so yeah, I don't use them. And for the order of ascendancy points, I would like to recommend you to get Avatar of the Slaughter and the Frenzy path here first, and then taking the Onslaught one after. And that's pretty much it. Now I want to show a map showcase of the build, and yeah guys, hope you will enjoy the build, and if you have any questions, just let me know, either PM me in game at TheAmigoBoysRain, or you can just reply to me on the forums and the build guide. The build guide will be in the description, so you can check it out right there. And bear in mind guys that this is an enfeeble map, so my crit chance and damage will be lower. But as you can see, it's still no problem for me, and yeah, it works out really well no matter what you do. The only map I wouldn't use would probably be reflect maps, and probably elemental weakness, because if you are in a elemental weakness map, it can fuck you up if you run into a reflect mob or something like that. And of course blood magic as well. You don't want to run a blood magic map, because then you'd have to sacrifice all your auras. Oh, we found a trial. And Guys, the reason I take so much damage is because of the map mods. There is extra damage as fire, minus resist, crit chance, and fucking enfeeble and stuff like that. So that's why I got hit by crit. Generally, I would survive all that shit, but because of the hard map mods, you sometimes die. That's why I play That's why I don't play hardcore, because I suck at the game and fail to reroll maps like that, because I'm lazy. But yeah, if you want to play hardcore, you should play much safer. And yeah, the boss would probably even one-shot me or something like that. I don't know, but we'll see. Go over here. Don't want to take the trial. Fuck that. Don't know about you guys, but I hate the lab trials. Mainly I just take them to get the offering, but I really think they're boring, and I actually hate the labyrinth. Even though it's probably worth it to farm. I don't really do it because I just think it's boring. And guys, as you can see here, if you find out that point blank is a problem, then you can just back out of it. But since I have so much damage, I just use it because it helps me a lot against single target. Yeah, if you don't like point blank, you don't have to use it. It's not mandatory at all. It's more like a personal preference, and I just tried it and I liked it a lot, so I put it into the guide. But if you don't like it, you can always take it out. And now we'll get to the boss. I just want to go out here, refresh my flasks, because I kind of want that being charged at the boss fight, or else I get raped. Go over here. I'll pop my flask. See, that worked pretty well. And we have enough portals, so we can just go out again and go in again, just to get the refilled flasks. Identify all this crap while we yeah. Works pretty well. Maze of the Minotaur map, I'll take it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions at all, just ask me here in game at the Amigo Boys Reign or at the build guide. Be sure to subscribe, like, and all that. You can also leave a dislike if you want to, and see you guys later. Peace.